Jay is the everyday guy, you know. And I think he represents a large portion of us that come out of school, out of college, thinking they want to do one thing, realizing they're not so sure, and then they're living back home with his parents, or they are. He was in his parents' basement up in Toronto in 2008, and he was doing napkin research for supermarkets, and he desperately wanted to become a famous reporter, but he had never gone to journalism school, and he was just writing crap stories trying to get published. And he ran into this guy who basically said, if you want to become a famous journalist, you got to go somewhere where no one will go. And at that point, piracy was taking off in Somalia, and the reporters, CNN, BBC, had banned their reporters from going in there. It was extremely dangerous at that time. And so he ended up writing emails, blind emails, to radio stations down there saying he wanted to come there and write about the pirates. And he ended up getting a phone call from Radio Garo in Somalia, and it turned out that the head of this radio station, his father was a president of Puntland, and he ended up inviting him over to write about the pirates. And of course, Jay was BSing his way all the way over there, got there, and was living with the pirates for 6 months amongst them, reporting, desperately trying to get actually published. And he ended up interviewing the pirate who took the ship from Captain Phillips, the Alabama, just before he took the ship. You know, it's all a true story. We shot primarily in South Africa. We had done a tremendous amount of research. You know, Somalia is really difficult. We actually shot in Somalia. Jay shot in Somalia. He was over there, so he ran some footage and shot there. Southern Sudan, from my doc when I was in Southern Sudan. So some of the running footage we got was actually from those worlds, and Kenya. But then, you know, what we did was that we would go into a community with the, you know, from an acting standpoint, we would just basically do a cold casting call, bringing in really the head chief of that area to get them to sign off on the script, say this is great, and then in turn they'd start sending actors to us that we would then work with over the course of several months, and then I flew in there and finally did the final auditions with them, you know, as they sort of went through it, you know, within a Somali community. Recreating the actual towns, we went into townships, and then, you know, it's interesting because you're bringing two different worlds. The Somalis are refugees arriving in South Africa. There's been a lot of tension, a lot of xenophobia there when there's no camps, there's an open border country. So when you start saying, I'm going to bring bus in hundreds of Somalis into a very poor township, you have to actually play like an ambassador too, because it's crazy, you know, so you don't really realize what you're throwing yourself into, which we did. We sort of employed both sides as best we could, sort of UN of filmmaking, we'll say, and it worked out really beautifully. I mean, it was an amazing, a really amazing process. 2008 isn't so far back that the younger generation, I'm hoping that this film is like it skews in theory really trying to inspire. It can inspire anybody, but if it can hit that 18 to 24 younger audience, they can still relate to a lot that's going on in that recent history, because we're really good at going into recessions and coming out of them. It seems like we're a pretty cyclical sort of thing, and you know, like that idea that I can bring that idea of change. It's like Jay's still a relatable character to that younger generation, and that they can go out and bring that change. You know, I mean, because we can't count on, you know, UN's an amazing organization, but it's an organization, and you got to deal with a lot of bureaucracy. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. It's an organization. So that Jay didn't sit back and wait to go, I'm going to go, you know, slog, you know, rice bags at a camp for a while and try to work my way up through the ministry. He just went.